Hello there. I return in this video to the case of Daddy Freeze, and what I want to do here is to expose one of his weaknesses. He actually bragged in the video that I'm reviewing, saying that he reads the Bible in in original languages, and I want to expose that it's a lie. It's a lie. So listen to him before I come back with the thing.
Read Genesis chapter 32. Don't worry, I studied this Bible in the original languages, not this King James that they are using to fool you people. Old Testament, I studied in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Latin. New Testament in Greek. So I know where everything is hidden. I know all the codices. I know all of them. Let them not lie to you people again.
So you heard it there. He said, don't worry. I studied the Bible in original languages. Old Testament in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Latin. New Testament in Greek. Not this King James version that they used to fool you, these people. You know, I'm literally quoting him. And he said, I know where everything is hidden. I know all the codices. So let them not lie to you again. That's exactly what he said, right? Let's examine whether what he said is actually true. How many languages do we actually have? The original languages of the Old Testament. They're just two. Hebrew and Aramaic. There is no, I emphasize no, capital no. There is no original language of the Old Testament in Latin. Latin was, I don't know if Latin even existed by the time Old Testament was completed. I'm not sure if Latin was around. It's just like saying English. English was not available. And so Latin is not an ancient language. Daddy Freeze, where did you get, can you show us any manuscripts, original manuscripts of the Old Testament in Latin? You don't have that. It's not available. Therefore, apart from Hebrew and Aramaic, any other language that you have of the Old Testament manuscript is a translation. Let that sink down into you, Daddy Freeze. So you are even bragging. You're bragging and you don't know this elementary thing. This is an elementary thing. And because you know that most Nigerians don't check anything. If I were your fans, when anybody says something like, don't worry, I studied this thing, I will pay attention and then I will go and check whether what you're saying is true. Nobody fact-checked you. Maybe I'm not aware of any. For more than 6 months that this video has been online, I've not seen anything. Well, I admit maybe I have not come across. But Daddy Freeze is lying. There is no scholar that agrees with you. And yet you are projecting yourself like somebody who actually studies, somebody who knows this. I know this thing. Let them not lie to you. Wow. So what is the fact? The fact is that we have only 2 original languages in the Old Testament and 1 in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, we have Hebrew and Aramaic. Any other language that you see in the Old Testament is a translation. And the earliest, this is the second fact, the earliest translation of the Old Testament we have is not even into Latin. So Daddy Freeze is wrong on multiple levels. The earliest translation of the Old Testament is not even into Latin. It's into Greek, and it is called the Septuagint. It's called the Septuagint, and that was undertaken before Jesus was ever born. The Septuagint was ready before Jesus was ever born. That is that. The other fact that you have to know is that the earliest translation into Latin is not Old Testament alone. It is both Old Testament and New Testament together, undertaken by Jerome, Saint Jerome, in the late 4th century. That is what we call the Latin Vulgate. It's called the Latin Vulgate, done around 382 AD. So, Mr. Freeze, Daddy Freeze, Father Freeze, or whatever you call yourself, it's either you are ignorant of this thing, and in which case you are not in any position to lecture anybody, or you know it and you are deliberately fooling people. So which one is which? Just pick one. There is no third alternative. And yet you are condemning people and projecting yourself like somebody who is actually knowledgeable. You know what? I'm willing to take you on. I'm willing to debate you on this if you argue it. If you think you cannot even do it. You can't do it. So produce any scholar in the world that agrees with you on this particular matter. So I just wanted to expose this because he seems to be enjoying some following somewhere. People who don't know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Drop your comment in the comment section down below. Thank you and God bless you. Catch you in the next video.